admission test is conducted by the Consortium of National Law Universities in India for admission into the 5-year LLB courses across national law universities. It is important to note that National Law University of Delhi has its own examination known as CLAT. Now, under CLAT, there are 5 subjects that are mainly asked. Number 1 is current affairs or general knowledge. Number 2 is English. Number 3 is logical reasoning. Number 4 is legal reasoning. And number 5 is quantitative techniques. Now let's look at the weightage that all these topics have. General knowledge or current affairs is 25%. Legal reasoning is also 25%. Logical reasoning and English and reading comprehension are 20% each. And mathematics or quantitative techniques is another 10%. Now, how do you strategize for this examination? Let's take all subjects separately. Let's look at English or reading comprehension first. Under English, you will have grammatical errors or questions related to grammar, along with multiple passages after reading which you would have to answer certain questions from them. These passages are generally fictional or non-fictional in nature and ensure that they test your understanding of the language that has been utilized and the logic that emanates from the passage. Now, post-English, we have to look at logical reasoning. Logical reasoning has certain topics like syllogisms, blood relations, seating arrangements. Logical reasoning is also passage-based. However, it ensures that you use your mind in drawing the patterns or identifying what are the logical loopholes involved in answering the questions. Therefore, it is something that tests your logical aptitude. Now, moving on to quantitative techniques or mathematics. For quantitative techniques, all that is required is your basic class 10 knowledge of maths, which is arithmetics. So you need to be quick when it comes to calculations, so you need to know your numbers as well as practice certain kinds of topics. Topics involving mensuration, statistical analysis, diagrams, etc. Now, moving from mathematics to general knowledge or current affairs. In general knowledge or current affairs, they don't just test your current affairs knowledge, which would be the international and domestic affairs that are happening across the world in the year that you are appearing for CLAT. They will also look at static general knowledge. So you need to be aware of the geopolitical happenings across multiple decades. Whatever has been an important political or sociological event that has happened in the last few decades, XYZ. Post general knowledge and current affairs, the final topic that we talk about is legal reasoning. When it comes to legal reasoning, it is again passage-led. Therefore, what they've done with the pattern is ensured that you do not require prior legal knowledge to be able to ace this examination. As it has been rightly put by the consortium, they are not looking for your prior legal knowledge. What they're looking for in you is your ability to comprehend English as well as the aptitude that you own. Therefore, in legal reasoning as well, they look at certain policy changes, they look at certain amendments, they will potentially look at any sort of laws that have come up in the last year or so. And in using them, they will form paragraphs, and from those paragraphs, they will expect you to answer questions. In this, a few static topics under legal can also be used. One of them being torts, the other being criminal law, another being constitutional law, so the fundamental rights, your directive principles of state duties, etc. With that, we understand what can potentially fall under the spectrum of CLAT topics. Now let's talk about how many questions are you expected to attempt. There are 120 questions for an examination that is 2 hours long. Therefore, 120 minutes, 120 questions. Further, if you get an answer right, you are awarded with 1 mark. If you get an answer wrong, you have a 0.25 deduction. So there is negative deduction as well. If you do not attempt something, you do not get marked for it. Having understood the pattern, having understood how you are marked, having understood what the topics are that you are expected to prepare for CLAT, all I have to say at the end is all the best.